Welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, Radio Bartica is on air. President Granger says public information is vital to the nation's development. Director of SARA says the agency is obligated to cooperate with other groups in the fight against corruption. Auto suppliers countrywide and other stakeholders meet to discuss and review best practices and laws under which they must operate. And Social Protection Ministry calls for more positive male parenting. Stay tuned for the details of these and more.
Do you know what the national budget is?
The national budget is a public record of the government's financial plans. It identifies financial goals of the government and the amount of money needed to achieve those goals during a 12-month period.
The national budget also tells the story of how the country's resources are being used and whether our decision makers are securing a good future for all citizens. It also reveals what the government sees as priority.
As citizens, you may or may not agree with those priorities, but understanding what government's decisions and plans are for the year ahead will allow you to ask questions and hold the government accountable, as is your duty. The budget is everyone's business. Get involved now.
A message from the Ministry of Finance.
And now for the details. At the commissioning of Radio Bartica 95.1 FM on Saturday, the head of state explained that his administration has placed much emphasis on the public information system. InfoHub's Zanil Williams was there for this historic event.
Without information, there will be no development. And that is why we have placed special importance on the public information system. We are developing public information under this administration to achieve certain specific targets. It is not something haphazard, it is not a flash in the pan. It is not a sideshow, it is central to development.
The head of state highlighted that the four major principles of public information, access, appeal, awareness, and attentiveness to minorities, are crucial to bridging the hinterland coastal gap.
Public information means that it is serving the public, the people. The people must know what is going on in their communities. If they are to vote, if they are to make decisions, they have to have information. They have a right to information. Information mustn't be treated as some preserve of a small clique or a small group. Or else the people will not be able to make informed decisions.
President David Granger observed that public information is equivalent to the public interests. He noted that communication alongside regional integration has been at the forefront of the government's agenda. To date, 5 radio stations have been established. These are Radio Paiwamak, Radio Madio, Radio Mabaruma, Radio Letem, and Radio Bartica. Zanil Williams reporting for InfoHub.
Today is Universal Children's Day. As such, students from primary schools across Guyana participated in an inaugural Children's Forum hosted by the Ministry of Social Protection. More from Delicia Haynes.
The event was hosted in collaboration with UNICEF and the Ministry of Education in observance of Universal Children's Day 2017. Children under the age of 12 were afforded the opportunity to express their views regarding social and other national issues which affect them. President David Granger, who attended the event, noted that the children who are the future leaders of this country can be assured that those in leadership today will pave the way for them to follow.
You have to take over this country 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and we are very happy that you are so articulate. Some of the criticisms are painful, but it means that the adults here will take note and try to make things better for you.
Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali commended the Child Care and Protection Agency for the initiative.
We certainly take note of all the things that they have been saying, and we also take note. Hence, we are going to be taking actions based on recommendations that they have made. This is a very serious forum.
Among the attendees were ministers of government, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and other national leaders who took time out of their busy schedules to listen to the children. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
The National Assembly last Friday approved $377 million supplementary provision sought by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure for the reconditioning of several ferry vessels. Alexis Rodney has more.
Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson vigorously defended his ministry's request for the additional funding, which he said will go towards the repairs of several boats.
This money being sought, as I explained to Mr. Cole, is the replacement of 2 engines. After the replacement, 2 engines and a rudder, sir. So everything is there. This procurement, Kroll. My apologies, Kroll. So this, sir, is the replacement, to procure and replace engines, and that will be done, sir.
Opposition parliamentarian Dharam Kumar Siraj sought answers on how the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will expend the multi-million-dollar package before the end of the 2017 fiscal year, especially since the ministry has already spent some $415 million so far for the year.
$177 million is for the MV Kimbia. That is to do the repairs. The MV Kimbia is in dry docks at the moment. So therefore, obviously, what we'll do is the procurement to get the engine, and it's not in the steering ends and those things in to get it back out. The $200 million, $200 million, sir, is for procurement of spares with the same procurement method that was done before. And that is how we are going to do it.
The opposition parliamentarian later requested information on the fate of the MV Tarani, which has been moored for over 5 years now. According to Minister Patterson, his ministry did not budget for the vessel, as it is a known fact that the former administration had gutted the vessel, indicating that it had other plans for it rather than to allow it to sail. That vessel was later moved to the Mazaruni dock after it was abandoned at the Stabrook Market Wharf. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Head of the State Assets Recovery Agency, Professor Clive Thomas, says he is duty-bound to cooperate with other agencies in the fight against corruption. Here again is Alexis Rodney with the details.
Professor Thomas was speaking at the opening ceremony for a law enforcement training session on assets recovery and financial investigations.
We've invited other agencies to participate in this training. And the reason for that is that the law mandates me. It's not an option I have to cooperate with other agencies in the pursuit of the tasks of SARA. So I have a fundamental responsibility to work with other agencies. I'm convinced the law, by doing that, enshrined an important idea that corruption cannot be tackled in Guyana by one single institution. It has to be multi-pronged.
Meanwhile, the SARA head also refuted as unsubstantiated opposition claims of SARA being a political hack.
We have never gone after any political person. There's no evidence of that. They alleged it in one case where we've been involved. And the magistrate found the case and said that we were right to seize the typewriters because they did, in fact, have in the minutes that's the Edmore case. That was recently thrown out.
The State Assets Recovery Act 2017, Act number 14 of 2017, was passed by the National Assembly on April 13, 2017, and assented to by His Excellency President David Granger on May 4, 2017. The agency is tasked with, among other things, the tracing and identification of property, whether situated in Guyana or in a foreign state or territory, of persons suspected to be state property, obtained or derived, directly or indirectly, from unlawful conduct involving a public official or any other persons, including where such property is held by or for the benefit of third parties. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Still ahead, greater positive parenting called for on International Men's Day and analysis to be conducted to determine the extension of the HAZE program. Details after this.
Do you know what a national budget is?
The national budget is a public record of the government's financial plans. It identifies financial goals of the government and the amount of money needed to achieve those goals during a 12-month period.
The national budget also tells the story of how the country's resources are being used and whether our decision makers are securing a good future for all citizens. It also reveals what the government sees as priority.
As citizens, you may or may not agree with those priorities, but understanding what government's decisions and plans are for the year ahead will allow you to ask questions and hold the government accountable, as is your duty. The budget is everyone's business. Get involved now.
A message from the Ministry of Finance.
InfoHub continues with Gabriela Patram, who reports that the Consumers Affairs Unit's annual supplier seminar today brought together auto suppliers from across the country and other stakeholders to discuss and review the best practices and laws under which auto dealers must operate.
It aims at bringing auto dealers into greater compliance with the laws, regulations, and the standards that safeguard the rights of consumers and reduce the number of complaints. Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin, who attended the seminar, noted that both the government and private stakeholders must work together to ensure all parties in the auto industry is protected.
Our government needs to work with your industry to encourage adherence to the guidelines that the industry is required to operate within.
Director of the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission, CCAC, Don Holder Alert, said the economy is growing, which sees most cars being imported. Hence, stricter guidelines need to be implemented.
Consumers are eager to purchase cars from auto dealers. It is very important that these consumers are vigilant and ensure that they know what they're entering into. Sometimes the eagerness of the consumer in acquiring a car may affect their ability to ensure that they are protected.
It was also noted that it is crucial that individuals and businesses operating within the auto industry are required by law to observe fair business practices when dealing with consumers. Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
During the observation of International Men's Day on Sunday, Social Protection Minister Amna Ali called for greater positive male parenting to reduce violence and increase equitable gender relationships. Tiffany Rogers tells us more.
Engaging fathers in modeling non-violent behaviors is crucial to ending the cycle of violence, Minister Amna Ali noted.
Involvement of dads in their children's upbringing and lives is very powerful. And I would go as far as to say would certainly go a long way to solving many of our society's problems and issues that manifest themselves in antisocial or dangerous risk-taking behavior.
Minister Ali stressed that all Guyanese have a role to play in reducing the increasing rate of sexual and gender-based violence in the country.
The Ministry of Social Protection is committed to work with men and women of this country to eliminate SGBV and promote gender equality and freedom from discrimination in Guyana.
The minister encouraged the empowering of men to achieve gender equality and ending violence.
We must empower our men, not in the conventional sense by giving men more power over women, rather by empowering men to challenge prevailing norms and change their behaviors.
International Men's Day is observed on November 19. This year's theme is celebrating men and boys. The Gender Affairs Bureau observed the day with a concert for men, by men. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Zanil Williams joins us again to tell us that the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs will be conducting an analysis to determine the viability of extending the Hinterland Employment and Youth Service Program.
The HACE program will end in August 2018. According to the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Alicock, while the ministry has seen some great results, it is still to determine whether the program should continue.
We are going to do an analysis, do a check on what has been done to see what benefits or failures. And we know we have a lot of communities, a lot of young people across who are really doing it. And I always talk about this young lady from Region 2 who wanted to give up. She said about on 3 occasions she wanted to chuck in, but she was encouraged. And today she is the breadwinner of her family.
Minister Alicock explained that the intention is to ensure that the program achieves the desired results.
we want to get feedback from the communities to see if we should continue after them, if it's making sense. Because millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars we're spending, and we want to see results. We're not spending it, we are investing this in our young people, and we would like to see results.
The HAZE program is geared at empowering some 2,000 Indigenous youths in approximately 200 hinterland communities. The sum of $991 million was allocated in the 2017 budget to roll out Phase 2 of the program. Zanil Williams reporting for Info Hub.
Thanks for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.